welcome to Curt's Corner. I'm your host, Cur3t's. This week, we have a very distinguished guest with us. Going back to his high school days, he was a four-sport athlete at Helena High. He played football, basketball, he did track and field, and baseball. Graduated in 1960. He was a member of Helena High's state championship track and field team in 1960. And he was a 400 type hitter with the Helena Legion baseball team. He had a political career in the 1970s in the Montana legislature and was a longtime practicing attorney in Helena. After a stint on the pitch, officiating club and high school soccer from 2008 to 2022, our guest served as the head coach of Helena High's girls soccer team, highlighted by 2 state championships and 8 Western AA conference titles. So let's bring him out now, Mike Meloy.
Do I need to bow?
Take a bow, Mike.
I have no idea why you want me here, Curt, but I'm honored to be here.
And you're going to find out.
Okay.
Okay. I promise not to embarrass you.
All right.
All right.
That's a deal.
Yeah.
I promise not to embarrass you, too.
Okay. Well, you got to trade.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, and before we get started, just a trivial question. Every once in a while, I like to educate my guests on my title.
Yes.
Now, if you'll look at my title,
Yes.
you'll see a 3 up there
Yes.
in between the R and the T.
I noticed that.
Now, do you know what that means, what that signifies?
Because I have no idea.
It's silent.
It's silent.
The 3 is silent.
Oh, it's 3 is silent.
Yeah, okay. I stole that from Stephen Wright.
Yeah.
Okay, now before we get started on the Q&A, I'd just like to initiate my audience with my connection to my guest. Before I got to know you on the soccer field, we were indirectly connected. And the first time that your name entered my hemisphere, I was renting a house for my dad down on Poplar Street, and a gal came to the door with one of your political flyers, and you were running for House District 29, I believe.
Yes.
So I remember your name. That's my first recollection of your name. Another one we're indirectly connected to is back in the 1980s when I was a painter.
Yes.
I painted the Bluestone.
Oh, you did?
My painting partner and I painted all the trim on the Bluestone, including the dome up on top. And then
when was that?
That was sometime in the 80s, I was thinking. And then your office came. When did you start your office at the Bluestone?
We bought the Bluestone from Al Nicholson.
Okay.
And it was still hadn't been used since the restaurant closed.
Right.
There was a restaurant in there, a seafood restaurant, and it closed.
Right. It was vacant when we painted it.
Oh, it was, yeah. Well, then you probably painted just before we bought it.
Yeah. Okay. I didn't know you actually bought it.
Yeah.
Let's see. What else do I have? And then, of course, I got to know you in person in my sports reporting career down at Seibel Fields. So anyway, now I'm going to turn it over to you a little bit. Talk a little bit about your roots. Who were your mom and dad, and what were they known for?
Well, my dad was an attorney for quite a while. He ran against...
His name?
Peter Meloy.
Same as yours?
Same as mine.
Okay.
Except he had a G in the middle. He was Peter George.
He had a
I'm
G.
I'm Peter Michael.
Okay.
And he was an attorney for a while, and then he was appointed and then ran for the bench in Lewis and Clark County and was a district judge.
Okay.
My mom was the librarian at the historical library for
Harriet
for many years.
Yes.
Yes. And they raised 5 kids.
Okay.
I was the oldest.
Okay.
My brother Tim, whom you know,
Yeah.
was
Got to know Tim.
next. And then Steve and Carrie were twins, and they had a nice tennis career in Helena
Yes,
and
they did,
the
yeah.
University of Montana
Yeah.
and the University of Arizona. Carrie went to Arizona and Steve went to UM.
Right.
And
So Carrie was Helena's first girl state tennis champion,
yes,
and Steve was a many-time city champion, and
Right.
like you say, played for the UM.
for the Grizzlies. And then Mark,
Right.
my youngest brother Mark, has worked for the number of things. He painted.
He was a
houses.
painter,
He was
yeah.
a painter.
Yeah.
He was a river ranger for many years on the Green River, and then he went to the San Juan River, and now he's doing all that stuff recreationally.
Oh
Still.
yeah, for fun. Huh?
Lucky guy.
Yeah. Well, he was 2 years ahead of me in school, so I do remember him. I think I graduated in '70, and I think he was 1968.
That sounds right.
That sounds right. Yeah. And let's go back to tennis for a minute,
Okay.
because you guys were probably most famous, although you were more of a multi-sport athlete.
Well, not
but-
necessarily. Mark and I, when I was in law school at the university, Mark and I competed in the University of Montana intramural tennis championship, and we
Okay.
played doubles and we won it.
Okay. Cool.
I was not a very good tennis player, frankly.
Well, you were probably pretty good, but you had, they were great.
Yeah, they were great.
Yeah. And Steve told me a great story about that vacant building where the mall
Yes.
was,
Right.
that your dad would take in a space heater or something and warm up the tennis balls in
Yep.
the wintertime, and you guys would.
He had all kinds of ideas about, he thought that if you warmed a wooden bat,
Oh, yeah.
if you warmed it up, you'd get more action out of it.
Yeah.
So we used to warm up the bats when we were initially
Well, I can see
playing.
us sitting in the dugout with a
Yeah,
cigarette lighter.
Well, it wasn't. It was a little more.
Not quite that far. Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I was looking at and doing the research on you, stalking you on
Yes.
on the internet. I came across an article of the local tennis in the late '60s, and I think every one of you guys was in that paragraph. Your names,
Really?
all 5 of you.
I'm not sure I could hit a tennis ball anymore.
Yeah. Well.
Anyway.
Yeah. Well, with you just broke your leg, so you might lose a little power that way too. So,
No. I wouldn't have been. I wasn't very good even with the good leg.
Okay. All right. Let's talk about your football. We'll go to your high school sports by the season. You're a football player. You played both ways at end.
Yep.
Junior year, you caught a touchdown strike and a pair of point after conversions with the 7-3 Kittens.
Yes.
Who was your coach? Was it McGinley?
Yes.
Okay. Then as a senior, you were a starter. You snagged a fourth quarter 32-yard toss from Randy Nolan to set up the Bengals' only score versus powerful Butte.
I have to tell you a story about my football.
Okay,
if
that's
okay.
why you're here.
Back then, high school was just a 3-year
School.
school. When I was a sophomore, which was my first year of high school, I made the traveling team for the state championship that we did up in Kalispell.
Oh, yeah, with Frank Ursich and Mike Cloud and those guys.
Yes, and Clayton, and yeah.
Yeah.
And it was a kind of a special deal for me because I was just a youngster and
Sophomore.
and we
Did you dress for the game?
yeah,
Wow.
not only dressed but we came running out of the locker room. I'll never forget this. And I was kind of in the back because all the upperclassmen went in front of us.
Sure.
And we were running on it was dark, thank goodness it was dark. And I was running onto the field and I tripped and fell right flat on my face.
Ouch.
Can you imagine how ignominious that would be?
What an entrance. Huh?
I think I had a parka on, so when I jumped up, I kind of pulled my parka down so no one would see me.
Well, it was freezing cold, is what
Yeah,
I
it
heard
was. It was
talking
very
to Mike.
cold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's a good story. Your introduction to the championships.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
Any other stories or memories from your football days?
Oh no, I can't remember much about that
Okay.
time of my life.
Okay. Well,
Frankly.
well, it was a long time ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. 60.
Don't even remind me.
Yeah, it was a long time ago.
Yeah.
So after a sub-varsity basketball stint
Yes.
in 1960 in the Intramural League, you
Intramural league.
you directed a team called the Meloys.
I did.
Do you remember that?
No, I have no recollection of that.
So you and the Mihelishes,
Yeah.
Frank,
Yeah.
your teams tied for first with 10-4 records.
No kidding.
It was an 8-team junior and seniors intramural league. You were the league's #1 scorer, according to the independent record. And you averaged 13.4 points per game, right?
Unbelievable.
And the top scorer in the league was Howard Collishaw,
Yeah.
and a person named Erickson. I could not find his first name.
Bart?
Maybe that's it. Bart Erickson, was he a basketball player? Intramural basketball player.
I don't think so, but he might have been.
Okay.
That's the only Erickson I knew.
And #4 was Gary Mihelish.
Yes.
Okay. Now let's move to track.
Let's move to track.
2-year letterman in the javelin.
Yep.
Okay, so you had a good arm.
I had a really good arm.
Yeah,
That's
right.
about all.
Yeah. You won the Livingston-Bozeman Triangular with a heave of 163 feet 9 inches.
Yeah.
That spring you placed 5th at divisionals. You qualified for the state meet, and you were
Yeah.
part of the 1960 state championship.
Yeah, but I didn't throw very well in the state meet, as I
You didn't.
remember.
You had a little off. You had an off meet. Any other memories of your track and the state championship?
No, not really.
No. Score was the
Yeah,
coach.
Lloyd Score was their
Lloyd.
coach.
Yeah. Okay.
Jack Cohn was the weights.
Who was the weight guy?
coach.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, because he was a great shot putter
Yeah.
in high school and a sprinter.
yeah,
Yeah. He was my wrestling coach.
yeah.
Yeah. Did he try to get you out for wrestling?
No,
No? Okay.
no.
All right. So Legion baseball, I would say you were a great baseball player.
Well, I wouldn't say that.
I mean, you batted right around 400.
Yeah,
That's pretty good.
I did pretty
You
well.
and Ted Williams,
Yeah,
you're in elite company there. Played the outfield. I think they talked about your arm. Well, you got
yeah.
you had a good arm.
I could put a ball on a rope from 300
Uh-huh.
feet out. Yeah.
Remember throwing anybody out at the plate?
Oh, of course.
All right. Okay, so next up is college.
Yes.
Tell me about your college.
Well, I went to the University of California at Riverside, and I played baseball and football there, and
You did?
rugby. Yes,
And rugby.
and rugby. And I went down to San Diego State for a semester, and played with Don Coryell was the coach, and I played one semester there. But
Really?
I missed Riverside, so I went back.
Okay,
Finished
so you
there.
played for Don Coryell.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did not know that. See, that's why you're here.
Ha!
We're digging up these
Oh, you're digging up these. weird
pearls.
Yeah.
So you played baseball, football, and rugby.
Right.
Okay. And what did you major in there?
Oh, I was mostly biology and a little bit of political science.
Okay. And then where'd you go?
Then I went to law school at the university,
University of Montana. Yeah.
And this was right before the buildup for Vietnam, and so we were all reclassified 1A, even if you were in school, unless, no, that's 60, in 67, we were reclassified even though we were in school, unless you had you were married and had a kid.
Yeah.
And
So you were 1A.
So I was 1A,
Yeah.
so I joined the reserves.
Okay. You weren't married yet?
I wasn't married yet. And then I did my active duty in, when I went out active, you had to do a 2-year.
2 years, yeah. That's what.
You had to do that
That's
too,
what
right?
we were, yeah. Where'd you go for 2 years?
I went to the Commander-in-Chief Pacific's headquarters in Honolulu, in Aiea, and worked for Admiral McCain, who was Senator McCain's dad.
Yeah,
And
who the ship is named after.
yeah, and I did legal assistance in their JAG office for my 2-year stint.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we did everything from working on treaties to, I did a lot of legal assistance. I wrote a lot of wills for people, and they were headed to Vietnam.
Uh-huh.
And I also played more rugby in Hawaii too.
More
while I was
rugby,
there.
yeah. Well, I just remember how big fast pitch, I was stationed on Hawaii.
Yeah.
I remember how big fast pitch softball was.
Yeah.
I mean, it was huge. And then we came back, if you come back here and talk to somebody, although fast pitch was pretty popular here also in the 70s, but has faded out. But nowadays, if you mention fast pitch, oh, that's a girl's sport.
Yeah.
But no.
No.
Okay, did you do any sports at the U, Montana?
No.
No? Okay.
Well, yes, I did. I played rugby.
Oh, okay.
I was on the first University of Montana rugby team.
Wow.
And we kind of patched it together and did lots of workouts, but the closest competition was at Pullman, Washington State.
Yeah.
They were the closest school that had a rugby team.
Wazoo.
Yeah, so we I think we only had one game, and we played over there.
Uh-huh.
And we had we had Tu'ufili Uparisa, and we had
Samoan?
John Walwork, Samoan, and they
I've heard that first name before.
Bruce Walwork. Oh, I don't hope I'm not getting his name wrong. Anyway, we played the University of Washington State University, and I tell you, I think every one of their football players was on the rugby team. So it was quite an interesting experience.
That had to be a rough game.
Yeah, but that's all I did.
Anybody from Helena or who ended up in Helena on that team for
No.
the Montana? Okay, rugby team.
No, I don't think so. But when I came back to Helena, I played rugby for the All Blues
Yeah.
and
Was
the
Bob
Threshers and
Bob Decker?
no,
No?
no, Court Harrington, the
Okay.
Threshers. Yeah.
Okay. Legal advisor?
But none of that involved playing soccer.
Right. We're going to get into that soccer
right,
later
right,
on.
okay.
I'm interested in that. I mean, we all are. But okay, I have that you were admitted to the bar in 1971.
Yep.
Let's see. When did you get married?
I got married in '67, just before we went to Hawaii.
And that was Claudia.
Yeah, that was Claudia.
Yeah.
We, oh, go ahead. I lost what I was going to ask.
Okay, so what I have here, Mike, is you're Director of Legal Services of the Montana Legislative Council, 71 to 74, Advisor to the 5-County Selective Service Board.
I think I was on the board
Okay.
until it closed, and we closed it. I was on the board when it closed.
You were on the board, okay. Board of Directors, Helena Symphony Society.
Where did you get all of this?
I just, that's what I do.
Smoke.
I dug it up. Board of Directors Attention Home and the Board of Directors for the Farmers Market. I guess I forgot that the Farmers Market went back that far.
We started the farmers market,
Yeah.
several of us, and I did the bylaws and when we initially formed the
okay.
nonprofit.
Okay,
Yeah.
sweet. In October of 1974, you were cited as among the outstanding young men of America.
Yeah. Right.
Do you remember that?
No,
Okay, well, it's there.
I'm not sure it's true.
All right, so two terms,
Yeah.
District 29, House of Representatives. You were the House Majority Whip,
Yeah, I was the first session.
and then you were
majority
the House Majority Leader.
right.
Okay.
In my second session.
Any thoughts on that? Memories of that? Highlights of that?
Oh boy, it was a far different legislature than we have now. I had
think?
when I was majority leader, we had or majority. I guess when I was majority whip, we had a 67. We had 67 Democrats, so we had a veto-proof. We could do just about anything if
Wow.
we could get the votes together. But guess
Yeah.
what? We couldn't. It was just like herding cats. And
Wow.
it was, but it was fun. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I,
That was your training for soccer,
it was, yes, probably.
for hurting the girls.
No, they're not. They're
Okay.
much easier than
Okay.
Butte Democrats. But I have to tell you, before that, when I was with the Legislative Council, the Constitutional Convention was going on, and I had my dad.
72.
My dad. You didn't put this down here, but my dad filed me as a candidate for the convention
Oh.
when I was still in Hawaii,
Oh, you weren't even home.
anticipating that I was going to come home for the.
Yeah.
And I did, but I didn't have a chance to campaign very much. But I came in. I think Helena, Lewis and Clark County, and Broadway. I guess it was just Lewis and Clark County was the district, and it sent 6 delegates to the convention, and I came in 7th.
Oh, wow. Huh.
But because the convention was going on and they needed legal help, and I was working for Legislative Services, I did a lot of help drafting proposals, drafting amendments, doing that kind of thing, just to help out the delegates.
Yeah.
And that was just fascinating. I really enjoyed that.
Well, yeah.
And then my first session in the legislature, many of the bills that were drafted to implement the new Constitution didn't pass the first 2 sessions.
Oh.
So I kind of took it upon myself to sponsor those bills and
Get those through.
get those through.
Yeah. Good for you. Okay. What do I have here? You became the chairman of the Party Rules Committee and a lobbyist for the Montana Trial Lawyers Association.
Yes, I did.
Okay.
How did you know that? Where did you get all
Well,
that?
that's in there.
Okay.
Legislative record, active in drafting and enactment. Oh, well, here it is here. Article 2, Section 9, right to know provision of the Montana Constitution.
Yeah.
Sponsor of present Montana open meeting statute.
Yep.
Now, I learned while I was covering your soccer, and you just kind of dropped an aside when we were talking about something, that you were involved in Title IX.
Oh yes.
And so tell me a little bit about that. Was that,
I did two Title IX cases of any significance. I've done more than that, but the 2 that I would comment on.
sure.
One was I sued Montana State University for violating Title IX because they had a disparity between the number of male programs as opposed to female programs.
Right, right.
My goal was to get them to sponsor a soccer team.
Oh, wow. Imagine that.
And
Like a precursor of things to come.
right. And during the course of the litigation, MSU offered free tickets to people who wanted to go skiing, to women who wanted to go skiing, so they could have a ski team and a Nordic ski team, both a downhill and a Nordic ski team, so they could equalize their numbers.
Yeah, balance it out.
And by the time we got to the hearing on the case, they had equalized
They had those.
pretty well.
They had those programs.
But Judge Meloy, different spelling, a federal judge in Missoula,
Yeah, that's
ruled that we had precipitated this equalization, so he awarded attorney's fees so that my clients wouldn't have to pay for it.
Yeah.
And the second one I did was I represented a young woman who was an incredible volleyball player.
I think I know who that is.
And she, and at the time, basketball and volleyball were switched. So
Right.
she was at a disadvantage because by the time volleyball came around in the wintertime when boys basketball was being played, she was they'd already the colleges had already recruited all of their primary candidates, and that was and so we filed that case, and the Human Rights Commission ruled that we prevailed, and they switched the seasons.
Yeah.
Actually, that's not true. It looked like that was going to be the case, and the high school association decided to switch the seasons.
I see.
And I think they were inclined to do that anyway. But there were
Probably had been talking about it.
all the little schools, they did not like that idea at all. So
No. Yeah.
yeah. Anyway, those are the two Title IX cases that I've done.
Okay. Very good. Montana Supreme Court. You had some involvement with that, correct?
Oh goodness! Over the years, yeah, I've had a number of cases in the Supreme Court, and I love doing that. That was kind of the highlight of my legal career, is being able to argue up there and make some law.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
All right, I'm just going to list off these awards that I found.
Uh-oh.
Montana Free Press Award, Society of Professional Journalists, and University of Montana School of Journalism, 2003. Montana Trial Lawyers Appellate Advocacy Award, 2004. Montana Trial Lawyers Public Service Award, 2007. Montana Trial Lawyers Citizens Award, 2012. And the Montana Trial Lawyers Career Achievement Award in 2013.
Seems just like yesterday.
Okay, so those are very nice awards, Mike.
Yeah. Thank you.
So before we jump into the soccer, I'm going to take some time to, Cato Butler used to say, I'm going to take some time to pay some bills. But I want to acknowledge my two major sponsors, one of whom is Exit Realty and Bob Denherter. Phone number 406-449-8831 or 406-457-2307. And he's located at 1524 Cedar Street.
And he was on our rugby team.
I was going to say Denherter, and it didn't come to me.
Yeah.
Bob played rugby.
Yep.
First time I met him, he was at a fist fight in the parking lot at Helena High, but that's another story. Exit Realty, locally owned and internationally strong. So thanks, Bob. And my other major sponsor is Custom Woodcraft. Earl Fred, another great baseball player, and his daughter Karen operate a business doing intarsia woodworking. It's the making of decorative pictures by laying pieces of various natural hardwoods into a groundwork of solid wood. Each piece is cut out with a scroll saw and hand sanded. Their shop is located at 1614 Grant Street. All right, now to the pitch. Now, tell me what because the first time I saw you on the pitch, you were reffing.
Yes.
You were an official. So how did you get into that?
Well,
How did that start?
I was coaching my youngest daughter's little soccer team, little U9 or U10 soccer team, and I sort of felt like I needed to give back to the referees that were reffing all of these games. Some were recreational, some were for a club traveling team that I was coaching, and so I thought, well, I'll ref some games, and I did.
Okay.
Wasn't a very good ref, but I tolerated coaches like John Hollow yelling at me.
Your baptism of fire.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So that's your officiating career, and then in 2008 you took over as head girls coach for Helena High.
I did.
This is where I came.
We came to meet each other.
We came to meet. I was still. Oh boy, I was still doing mostly features, and I didn't get into the actual coverage for till a couple years later.
Yeah, but it was really great that you did, because you always got it right, and you always had the right kind of questions to ask. And I could always be confident that if we said something about the way the game went or didn't go, that you'd make it sound good, and you always did.
Well, I appreciate that. I didn't know anything about soccer. I had gone to a hockey game when I was in the Navy down in San Diego, so I knew a little bit about icing and offsides and blah, blah, blah. And then someone recommended me. What I would do is I remember the photographers, Joel Mays and
Yeah.
John Smith, and all Joel's kids played soccer.
Yep.
So I would stand next to somebody that knew the game. And Joel told me one time that he knew just enough about it to be dangerous.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
But anyway,
that's true of most parents, by the way.
Right,
of
yeah,
kids.
yes, yeah. So I would stand next to Joel or somebody else that knew the game. I'd stand behind an assistant coach, and kind of pick their brain, because I wouldn't want to bother the head coach. And then I was always try to get a good quote. And I was going to tell a little story about you and I. On an away game, I think you guys had lost like 1-0. And so what is a sports writer going to write about a game that the score is 1-0 and our team is the 0?
Yeah.
What am I supposed to say? So I asked you over the phone, were there any near misses? And you answered back, what difference does that make? The ball didn't go in the net. I said, give me something, Mike. So we worked it out.
Yeah.
But anyway, I thought we had a great working relationship, and
We did.
I kind of got to know a little bit. I really appreciated the sport and the athleticism. Oh, and what I was going to say about the comparison to hockey is you look for areas where you're advancing the ball. You divide the pitch up. Is that close? Where you want to work the ball when you work it up the field?
Yeah.
So you're kind of
Yeah.
looking.
Yeah, same idea.
Similar.
But that's true with basketball. That's true with.
I didn't know anything about basketball either. so I did the same. That's how I covered basketball. So your red and white kickers garnered 7 top 4 finishes at state. Actually, yeah, that's right. But I was going to talk to you about 2022.
Okay.
It was a single elimination. Was it 2022?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a single elimination, and you
Right.
got you made it to the semifinals. So
Yeah.
that's top 4.
We got a nice plaque from the high school association.
You got a plaque. Okay,
But
that was my question.
It was, that was a tough loss. So.
Yeah, it was. Okay, 7 top 4 finishes at state. You had a pair of championships in 2015, 2017. You placed runner-up in 2013 and 2020. You took 3rd in 2021 and 2022, which was a tie, and then 4th in 2012. So let's talk about the 2 championships, and I'm just going to read you something what I wrote down about it.
Okay.
2015 was the first one, and I covered that. It was down in Billings.
Yep.
It was your 4th straight conference title. You entered the state semifinals against East number 2 Billings West, and they were unbeaten.
Right.
Or no, you were unbeaten, I'm sorry. 12-0-2. Score tied at 0-0 in the 63rd minute. Sophomores Katie Martin and Camden Hilborn collaborated on what turned out to be the winning goal in the 63rd minute.
This is, are we still on?
Yes, we're still on.
We are still this is the 2000, this is actually the 2017 championship team. And there's Cam there and
Camden Hilborn.
Katie. Where's Katie? Maybe Katie had graduated.
Who's this? Do you know all of these? Do you still remember all their names?
I do, but don't challenge me.
You need to take this back and have everybody sign it.
I probably should.
Okay.
Mike Lamb, my assistant coach, took this picture, and I love it.
That's a great picture.
Isn't that a great picture?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's Kaylin Wall. That's Kaylin Wall. She was my assistant coach for
Okay.
the last 3 or 4 years, and that's Katie Martin there.
This is Tintinger.
Yep.
So Katie Martin's in there somewhere.
Yeah, she's right there.
Oh, there's Katie.
Yeah.
Do you know what her dad's nickname? There's another guy I stood next to. Was Mr. Martin.
Doug?
What's his? Doug Martin.
Yeah.
Remember his nickname for Katie?
No.
Bug.
Oh, no, I didn't.
He'd say, "Come on, Bug."
Oh, yeah. He did call her Bug.
Yeah. All right, so let's go back to 2015.
All right, back to 2015.
0-0, 63rd minute. Katie Martin and Camden Hilborn collaborated on the what turned out to be the winning goal, 63rd minute. What I wrote was Martin crossed a direct kick into a stiff breeze from the far left side, which at first appeared to be overcooked, but was knocked down, and I probably stole that expression from maybe Doug or somebody, was knocked down by the wind. Hilborn timed her leap perfectly and headed the ball in front from 8 feet out and past the Lady Bengals keeper for the championship. So your memories of that game?
Oh, yeah. I remember that header.
Yes.
I'm not sure I could tell you very much about that game. It was very exciting because it was really a close game until that score, and then we had to hang on to finish it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
And it was just a wonderful group of kids that we had on that team.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you had some great teams, and, year after year.
Yeah.
You just kept turning them out.
I think Cam scored the winning goal in our 2017 championship too.
Well, she was very
Missoula.
very instrumental. That wasn't the. That wasn't the championship. That was the semifinals.
That was a semifinal game.
Okay, in the Chipper versus Sentinel, after falling behind 1-0,
Right.
Katie Martin registered a pair of corner kick assists. The first to her sister Patricia Martin at 52 minutes, and the game winner to Hilborn in the 68th minute.
Right.
And so the two 2-1 victory gave you guys an undefeated crown at 13-0-2.
Yeah, and we were, Sentinel was our rival throughout the whole season, so
Yeah.
it was kind of special to play them in the championship game
Yeah.
down in Billings, and all of the
Down-
Eastern Division teams had
down-
been defeated by them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was always nice to get the Western Conference,
Yeah,
both from
yeah,
the West in
yeah,
there.
Yeah, that was great.
So 2 years later, you won it all again in Missoula in 2017. Now, I didn't cover that, but I actually drove over on Saturday for the championship, and I stood next to Brian Hilborn.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, who was a Carroll Hall of Fame kicker.
Yeah.
So imagine that,
Yeah.
you know, that's maybe pass that down to Camden. But so you guys had won your 6th consecutive Western AA championship. You beat West 5-2 in the semis on your birthday. That had to be memorable. So anyway, you get into the finals. There was defending champion and undefeated Bozeman. So you guys were the underdogs, but not by much, but they were favored. They were riding a 12-game winning streak. In the title game, HHS went ahead on a couple of Katie Martin goals before the Lady Hawks knotted the score at 2s. Then Cam drilled a PK at 71 minutes for the go-ahead score. Alana Vickery added an insurance goal 2 minutes later, and then the defense held on for 4-2 victory in the Crown. You finished 11-1-3.
Yep.
Memories of that season or game?
That,
Or both?
Well, Bozeman always had a great team, and their coach was an incredible coach, and so that game was going to be really a tough game for us, I thought. I don't know what their record was, but if they weren't undefeated, they were pretty close.
They were undefeated.
And so it was going to be a real challenge, and I was the thing I can remember most about it is that the foul that gave Cam the penalty, the shot from the mark, the penalty kick, was I think it was a handball, and it was not. It was real close.
It was a little iffy.
Yeah, and I can remember Bozeman's coach. She just went ballistic.
I remember that.
You remember that?
I remember that now. I had forgotten that.
She was so mad at that, and of course, once Cam scored, that was really, I mean, Alana put the finishing touches on it, but it was that was a huge goal for that game. So yeah.
Yeah, I had forgotten. She went ballistic.
Yeah, she did.
And like you say, it was.
We still talk.
Oh, that's good. That's the main thing. Is she still coaching?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
she's the second winningest coach behind Rick, I think. If not, she should be.
Well, I have some names in here. Erica Cannon.
Yeah.
She's the winningest.
Yeah. Well, she's the winningest now?
She's the winningest.
Oh, yeah. Well,
Rick is second.
Rick is second.
Guess who's third?
Yeah, well.
Yours truly.
Yeah.
Over there, my guest. Okay, now here's something that's, I don't know if it's been always bothered me, but it's always something I'm aware of. The old saying, no one ever remembers who took second.
Yeah.
So I've kind of made it my mission to dispel that myth. And we're going to just mention your 2 state runners-up.
Okay.
Because they were great teams and they were close losses. So in 2013 was the first one. I was there, and you had 2 shutouts to get into the finals, Skyview and Bozeman, and you went up against Billings Senior and former Lady Bingle, Coach Megan
Yeah.
Parrish,
Yeah.
and you lost 1-0.
Well, I have to tell you, I didn't really expect to make it that far. Our team just really stepped up in that tournament.
Yeah.
So when we got into the championship game, we were all kind of scratching our heads and how did we get here?
Yeah. What do we do now?
And the team just really really stepped up. Our defensive effort was fantastic and much better than it was for the whole season, actually, in that game. And I can remember Megan telling me afterwards that she sweated bullets in that game because she thought she was going to really undo us, and
Yeah.
she just barely won.
Yeah.
And so, that's what I remember about that.
Very evenly matched.
Yeah. And
teams.
so you're right to think that losing a game in a championship isn't the end of the world. It's
No.
we had a good game.
Yeah.
2013.
Good game, good season, good players. And then in 2020, you were shaded by Glacier, 1-0. Another, white knuckle heartbreaker.
Was it Glacier? I thought it was. Well,
It was Glacier because you beat them twice during the year.
And they beat us in the.
Your quote after the game. I was not covering games.
Yeah.
But
I should have been retired.
your quote after the game is, "We had plenty of shots, but we just couldn't find the
we
net."
couldn't find the net.
And what I thought was that that old adage, it's tough to beat the same team three times in the same season.
Yeah.
So, and 1-0,
Yeah.
second place,
Yeah.
nothing to be ashamed of. So I think you won 8 Western Conference championships. I said
We did.
7 earlier. You won 8.
We won 8.
2012 to 2017, which was 6 in a row,
Right.
and then 20 and 21.
Right.
Equals 8. 6 in a row, you had 5 undefeated league titles. Now, you and I have talked about this when you were doing it, and we both thought that that had never been done before.
Well, I don't know about that. How would we
To
know?
win, yeah, you'd have to
Yeah.
go back and look it up.
Yeah.
But I know somebody that can do those sort of things.
Yeah.
But 6 of them, 6 in a row, and then 5 undefeated. Well, Capitol High did pretty good, didn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's not forget Capitol High, because
No.
they won 68 matches in a row.
They did.
Yeah. So you might not have been the first. Now this is interesting though, during one 4-year stretch, although they had, they never lost a game, but during one 4-year stretch, you guys didn't lose a regular season conference game.
Yeah, that's probably true.
That's pretty consistent.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any thoughts on that?
No.
49, that's 49 games in a row, conference wins in a row.
Yeah, I don't have any.
You were coaching.
But we had good teams.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who was that said that? The trick to winning a World Series is have good players.
Yeah, that doesn't hurt.
Yeah. So over the course of your 15 seasons at the helm, HHS posted 12 winning seasons while compiling an overall record of 127 wins, 42 losses, 39 ties for a 745 winning percentage, and you rank 3rd in the state in most wins behind Erica Cannon of Bozeman and Rick Thompson of Capital. And you were a 2-time Montana Coach of the Year,
Yep.
2016 and 17.
Yep.
Didn't give it to you in 2015?
I don't remember.
Well, that's something to be proud of.
Yeah, I think you're right. It was a 16 and 17. I don't remember what happened in 2015.
Yeah, well, I don't know. You
That's kind of a shame to win the championship.
You won the
and stuff.
championship.
No, I think somebody else deserved it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So Besides the 2 championships being your highlight, how would you encapsulate your career? How would you describe it? What are your favorite?
I never have. I mean, it's great to win, and it's great to take home championship trophies. But the joy that I got from coaching was working with these absolutely wonderful young women, and I still miss that now. I do. It's amazing to me how diverse people can get together and accomplish something in the most beautiful game, and I just love coaching them, and I love watching them and watching them develop. And now I see them, on the streets carrying a little kid, and
taking them to soccer practice.
Yeah, taking them to soccer practice.
Yeah.
When you called me yesterday, I've been helping my youngest daughter's oldest daughter is in the 3rd grade, and she's playing soccer, and her mom decided that she would coach, and so I said I would help, and so I'm sitting on the field and watching these little 9-year-olds run around the pitch.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden it occurred to me that we were doing it on the same field that we won the championship on.
Oh yeah.
and I thought, God,
it's deja vu all over again.
But it's just it's a wonderful game, and it's a wonderful way of young women, particularly, to excel, and I've been real lucky to be a part of it.
Yeah. Well, I would be remiss. I did get a quote from one of your players.
Oh, you did? Oh.
At the risk, I didn't want to leave anybody out, but at the same time, I only have room for one quote from one person, and it was from Camden Hilborn.
Yes.
And she wrote that, quote, "I think the biggest thing that stands out to me now about Coach Meloy was his ability to let us have fun and enjoy every part of soccer. He didn't really have a negative bone in his body. He was great at analyzing players' strengths and giving them the space to create and play off of each other. The teams I was best to play with got to experience an environment where winning was expected and we were pushed super hard, but nothing ever came before our happiness and growth together as a team. That's probably what I learned most from him, that winning can be an expectation, even in the most positive, stress-free environment." And then I asked Cam to what were some of her favorite Mike Meloy stories.
Oh, geez.
And she wrote, quote, "Some of my favorite memories are probably our river rafting trips up by his cabin, his outstanding dance moves,
Yeah.
and the championship season always hit a bit of a sweet spot with too many amazing memories to count," unquote.
Oh,
So-
that's really nice, Cam. I don't really. That's wonderful to hear. I appreciate that.
Sorry, I said I wasn't going to embarrass you.
No, you did.
I lied.
Yeah, you did.
All right, let's go to, I don't know, where are we at here? Oh, here's something that I wanted to ask you about, and maybe I have.
Yeah.
When and where and who started the blood and pain chant?
The what?
The blood and pain chant, where the girls would get in this circle before the game,
Oh, yes,
and they'd
yes,
rock back, and they'd be
Oh,
like
yeah,
this,
yeah,
like
yeah,
a
yeah,
football huddle. Who's going to give that blood and pain? Bengals. Bengals.
I have no idea who started that.
I wonder if they still do that.
The one thing that I've never been very good at is that kind of rah kind of cheering
Oh.
thing. So somebody else
That was
got
somebody.
them going, and I
Yeah.
don't know who it was, but
You just let them run with it.
I just let them go with it. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
well-
think the team put that together.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll have to do some more digging.
Yeah.
All right. So this is the part of the segment where I do my impression of Howard Cosell,
Yes.
and we go up close and personal. So let's talk about your family life. Your first life was Claudia,
Yep.
and I think I have those years right, 67 to 80. Did you have 2 children together?
Yes.
Okay. And those were
Colin and Miley.
Miley and Colin. And then your second marriage,
Is Jan Van Riper.
is that to the present?
Yep.
19,
I think we were married in.
better get this right.
We were married in 1985. I know when.
1985,
Yeah,
okay, yeah.
1985.
Didn't mean to put the pressure on. And your
So that's
youngest,
25. So how many years is that? 30 years? 40 years? 40 years?
1985?
Yeah.
That's 40 years.
Yeah, 40 years.
Wow. How time flies when you're having fun.
Yeah, I guess.
And your youngest daughter is Leah?
Leah. Yeah.
Okay. Now, so tell me, what's Miley doing now? She's a writer. She's
a
an
writer,
internationally
and
famous.
She just finished directing a series for Fox that she wrote. She'd written some scripts for this program called Accused, and the last one she did, she got a chance to direct it, which she loved doing.
Cool.
But unfortunately, her house was. She and her husband's house was in the Pacific Palisades, and they lost everything.
They lost it, yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
So she's still recovering from that.
I think Bruce Doring's, one of Bruce Doring's, I believe, kids lost their house down there in L.A.
Yeah.
during the fire. Wow.
And
Well, that's unfortunate.
yeah, really, it's hard to imagine how devastating that is,
Yeah,
unless it happens to you.
right, yeah. And then Colin, what's he doing?
Colin he's the composer and lead singer for the Decemberists,
Oh, wow.
and he is in Portland, and he just finished a solo tour in Ireland and London.
Wow.
Last 2 weeks ago, and he's writing his third book, and this one's his previous books were young adult books,
Oh,
and this last one's a regular adult book, and he's just finishing that now.
yeah, okay,
Yeah, and he's married and has 2 young boys.
okay. And then
Leah is the director of the speech pathology clinic at the University of Montana, and
nice.
she has 3 kids, wonderful kids.
And that's where the soccer game was?
Yeah, that's where the soccer game.
Yeah. And so how many grandkids then? 5?
5.
Yeah, okay. And what are you doing to stay busy now?
Well, I'm helping her coach her 9-year-old soccer team.
Yeah, you're recapturing your youth.
I'm still doing legal work. I have an interest in First Amendment and free speech and free press, and so I've been still doing that. I've been involved in several pieces of litigation challenging the constitutionality of some of the stuff the legislature's come up with.
Okay, that'll keep you busy.
And I've defended a couple of defamation cases. That's my primary interest. But I only have 3 or 4 cases now, so it's a lot easier.
Yeah.
Don't know why I didn't do that earlier. It's a lot more fun practicing that way.
Yeah. Well, you're pretty spry.
I'm pretty spry.
I happen to know how old you are because we graduated 10 years apart from Helena High.
Yeah.
So.
And you're a youngster. And I'm a geezer.
Well, anyway, enjoyed having you on the show.
Oh,
I learned a lot of stuff I didn't know about you.
It was my privilege to be here.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for asking me.
Yeah, you bet. My pleasure. All right, I just want to give a final shout out to my individual sponsors, one of whom is Spring Creek Ranch, And that's downtown Julie Brown Petrie and her husband Chris Petrie, Pat Murphy, Ken Nettleton, Tim Ferreter, Bill Bentley, and Gary Turcotte. So thanks a lot, guys. If you would like to be a sponsor of Curt's Corner, just send me a text at 406-594-2878. Remember, hey Curt. And my email is curt52SYNNESS@gmail.com. So long for now. Shaka da kind ting, my brother. And with apologies to Jackie Gleason, Jeannie, if you will, a little traveling music. Away we go.